Hey buddies, welcome to AmassGames. My name is Simon and I'm going to set up, play and review the game Endangered, a game of survival by Joe Hopkins, a cooperative game for 1 to 5 players. Now I have zoomed out, it's not a huge board, but just based on the quality of, I guess, wanting to show you what's on this image, just want to let you know that I have zoomed out, so it might be some lack in quality in terms of the image, so I do apologise for that. Do let me know as well, I'll see what I can do. But first of all, say how well things are stored in this box, a little plastic insert kind of thing, which means everything doesn't move around too much. You may have seen this on the other side of the board, that is because you can play the sea otter, trying to save the sea otter. On this case, we're just going to play the beginner in some respects, the beginner one involving trying to save the tiger. I say beginner, it's just marginally simpler, but I don't think there's a big difference. Everybody is going to choose who they want to play as. You can play as a lobbyist, whereby we're trying to obviously save the tiger. We're not playing as a bad lobbyist. Some people might think that. And you can play either as a male or a female character. I've played through all of these so far. There's only one I haven't tried out at this moment. And you can get more. So we have those out to choose from. We've also got money. So everyone's usually going to start with some money based on the scenarios. So you're going to put back the sea otter scenario for now. We're going to play the tiger scenario. And you can choose how you wish to play. And inside it's going to take a little bit of information about how you're going to set it up. So in this case, we're going to get out ourselves 16 destruction tiles. I'm just going to get a few out just to show you as an example. We're also, in terms of how to win this game, is we're trying to ultimately satisfy some various influences. And these influences are called ambassadors. We're trying to save various people around the world. I'm showing you over here, but I'm thinking I might put up the top. Let's vary up how we're going to do this. So we have various people. What you're going to do is you're going to shuffle up and deal out 3 of the blue cards. So we have here, in this case, we have the total money for Mexico. Apologies. These are going to go face down, so let me just shuffle up some other ones, because we need to find out what on earth they need in terms of wanting us to vote for them. You're going to shuffle up 2 green cards. I was going to show you exactly what they encounter underneath. And you're going to shuffle up 1 of these grey ones, and the rest of it goes back in the box. I have played through all the various ambassadors that you can deal with. So you're also going to pick your deck of cards. So again, if you're playing with a sea otter, that can go back in the box. Just leave it as a stack off to one side for now. And then you're going to choose to play as a lobbyist, which I happened to play as last time. But it's because something humorous I want to show you. I'm going to play again as the philanthropist. Now I could show you a 2-handed example of this game whereby I'll have somebody else, but for now I'm just going to leave it up to set up with one person. So we're going to set up these tigers as it does show us on here. And what we're trying to do is satisfy these ambassadors. We're trying to make sure that they are happy with what we are trying to achieve. So in this case we are doing this goal in particular, and then we're going to place out one here, etc. So as you can see, it is a wildlife themed game, a nature themed game by Grand Gamers Guild. If you have any other questions, let me know in the comments are best in YouTube. Also head through to Instagram, there's posts over there already. So we're going to take our Tiger Impact cards, let's leave those off to one side. What else we need to do? Well, we're going to shuffle up our deck of cards and we'll be drawing 2 in a moment. But before we do that, we're going to have a kind of little ability that we're going to work with. And that's going to allow us to do something in the game and decide how we want to start off. Aside from that, we also need some dice relevant for our colour. So let's move the tiger scenario out of the way for now. And we're going to play this over a number of years as it represents all rounds. So in this instance, if we're playing as a 2, when we reach down to round 8 and round 9, we need to have satisfied the requirements for these various ambassadors. So I'm playing as Lavender, playing as Purple, obviously last name being Lavender. I'll take out my respective dice, and when I show you an example of somebody else playing, I'll just grab some dice at random to show you how that works. So if you want to check out other cooperative games, check out my cooperative playlist as well. Check out the AmassGames playlist, the Family 8 playlist, all of this is going to be in there too. So we've pretty much got everything set up. We've got our character out as well, we've got our philanthropist, and like I said, we are now going to choose what we can do. So one thing I'm looking forward to finding is where those small starting cards are. There they are. So we're going to reveal these 2. So the 2 for each of the various 5 characters you can play as. And there are other scenarios you can now get if you want to try and save various other species such as penguins, lone wolf, etc. So here are the 2 things I can work with. This one, once per turn, on your own turn, you may discard 1 card from your hand to gain $1 million or collect $1 million. You may use money from other players with their permission as though it was your own. So that's great, but I guess playing as a 2, maybe I want to stick with this one. So that just inserts down here. and then you're going to roll your dice. So I've got my 3 dice. I'm going to roll them beginning of my turn. Oh great, all 5s. So that's what I can do. Sometimes you can modify things, but it does depend who you play as. And you're all going to take out a couple of dice as well. I'm going to use that to decide where we're going to have some destruction happening, and if we happen to have any breeding. Okay, so what are we going to do? Well, first up, we draw 2 cards. So I'm going to keep a look at these 2 cards. So these are the 2 cards I'm going to start off with. I also get go to work. So go to work kicks in straight away. So I do go to work. In this case, you trigger it straight away. It goes to my discard pile. So I get collect $2 million. So I start off with $2 million plus whatever the starting scenario gives me. So the starting scenario, if we happen to be playing it on normal, then nothing happens. Last time I played this, I played it on normal. So I got myself $2 million. Apologies for the plastic crinkle. I generally have things do set up, but like I say, this is how to set up, play and review video. $2 million, there we go. Okay, so whoever starts, well, you can choose. It's up to you to decide who starts. But what you're going to be doing is whoever starts, they're going to take a little token which matches their colour. So in this case, it'd be like this. It slots into here, and to show we know whose turn it's been, they can take that and say, right, okay, I'm going to go next or whatever. I personally think you don't need these. It's a nice touch, but I don't think you need them. And the last game we didn't even play with them, playing on hard on Seattle mode, which we happened to win at. So it doesn't seem to be infecting it, but you know, it's a nice touch. So in this case, I've got my 2 cards, and I can choose to try and play one if I want to. How do I do that? Well, again, I've got high values. I'll come back to about that in a second. But if you see I've got spaces here, I can play 1 card from my hand. So why do I want to do that? Well, maybe there's something of interest, but let's say I do this one. I pay $3 million, and then you add 3 influence to 1 ambassador. Now remember, that's not an action, that's me playing out a card. Now imagine I was playing with somebody else, and imagine I happened to be playing with somebody who played blue. Let's say they happen to roll a 1, and a 3, I don't know, and a 4, who knows. The thing is, I can't go somewhere where someone else has been if my value is different of 1, or a minimum of 1. So basically, if they happen to have gone here, I've got a 5, it's fine. But if I happen to have a 2, it's got to be at least 1 pip higher to go here. If I had another one, I can't go here. However, in a 2-player game, it's got to be at least 2 higher. So long as I had a 3 or something, then that's fine. Again, I'll be playing out a card. That's handy because now my opponent, or sorry, my teammate can now go and use this action. So imagine they can go here. Imagine they played, I don't know, they could play a 4 or whatever it might be. Then, imagine they got $3 million, they pay it. Now they're adding influence to 1 ambassador. So they paid $3 million, that's gone to the bank, and they already had that. And they flip over 1 card and adding 3 of these influence to it. Now there's a finite amount of everything. But in this case, the amount of destruction tiles in the supply, so basically we start with about 20 odd in the supply, 26 or so, 24 maybe. What we're going to do is as long as there's enough out and not on the board, then as long as there's 10, then that is this person happy. The USA is going to be happy. Now having said that, you've noticed I've also got 3 influence, which is a nice modifier. So now I only need to have 7 tiles in the supply. Now these ones we do not know. We've got a total of 7 more rounds to have our first chance of winning the game. Again, a whole round in which we have 4 ambassadors that are happy. So to do so, we need to make sure that we're able to get out the various modifying requirements to ensure these are happy, so they need to be flipped over and decide who they're going to be, which countries we're going to play with. So what I can do on my future turn is just imagine I happen to have a 6. Then I could place this out here. But as you can see, based on the dice, you've got to play what you have. So imagine I have $3 million. We can flip over this one. And Mexico, we need lots of money at the end of the game. Now these 3, you'll notice, are blue. If we happen to flip over this one's slightly different because different colour in the background. In this case, mating pairs. So you want lots of mating pairs going on here. In this case, you need to have 7. But again, chuck out some influence and you can get that right down. Again, you can get it down to 1 if you want to. Where these are green ones, and this is where you're going to be rolling some dice at the end. And as long as 1 value, whichever the highest value is, you need to then be reducing it more, because currently it's going to be, obviously we have to get 8, and we need to get that down from 8 to whatever that highest value is. So make sure you modify that out. So that's going to continue until you finish the round, or until you finish all your turns, but I haven't talked to you about the rest of what you can do on your turn. So the little player age is quite handy. Everyone has one, or you can take, if you're playing a, say, a 2, you can take 2 and of course flip them over. So the next thing we do is we do offspring. So we currently have we have 0 mating pairs, so maybe I would have placed one of my dice over here to move an animal. That allows me to mate. So in this case, I roll a die, and as long as the value is equal to or greater than the amount of mating pairs, we create another tiger. So we take a tiger, we bring it out anywhere adjacent to where it currently is, into an empty space, and it's going to come out here. They're territorial, so always going to go into new space. So that's how that works, and then we're going to do the destruction. So the destruction is the following. We are going to roll a black die, and we're going to pick one of these things along here. So in this case, we're going to pick, let's say, column 5. So column 5, roll a die, because it has to be picking a column whereby we have an animal, and if we happen to hit a 6, then we're going to lose this tiger. Roll a 2, we do not lose a tiger, but this is going to go out onto position 2, and now we've got some destruction, which is not good, because the next time we happen to roll a 2 on that particular column, we get this tile that's going to move closer to the nearest tiger, and if it happens to be a mating pair, then it will eat, well, you'll lose them because they've been deforested, they've got no habitat, and unfortunately they are gone, they go back to the supply. Again, that is working against this kind of objective, and also maybe this objective too. So that's something you have to be aware of. And then finally, we've also got the impact. So you're going to reveal an impact. In this case, this triggers a variety of persistent impacts. If there's none in play, draw and resolve the next one. So drawing the next one out, which in this case, any one player may pay $3 million to discard one persistent impact. So you can get rid of some of these which say persistent on them. Such as, again, I did shuffle these on purpose, but there are some which happen to be persistent. When it enters, you bring out more deforestation, so that's a good thing to try and get rid of. Again, depending on the level of difficulty, you might already start out with something persistent as well. So there are 4 stages talked about so far. The final one is upkeep. So then what's going to happen is you're going to draw 1 extra card into your hand. So we've already got 1 card out. 1 is in my hand. I'll go bring out another card. Everyone brings out a total of 2 cards if you've already played out 1, let's say. And then what's going to happen is you are then going to take back your turn markers. Again, make sure you've done all that, and then we're having the year end. So again, this is going to move down. We're going to take all our dice back, roll them, and then start again. So that means we're going to be triggering all our actions, maybe bring out cards to do so. Some of these ambassadors might want more cards. Then we're going to finish placing all 3 of our dice out per person. We're then going to have the mating phase happen. So again, the more mating pairs there are, again, it's going to be harder to bring them to mate more because there's limited space, maybe limited food. Then we're going to do the destruction if anything happens there, and then we're going to have the impact, and then we're going to check and see if we're in the right zone. That is the game. What to think of it? I give this kind of a 7.3 out of 10. This is higher than average for me, about almost a whole point higher than other games I've played. The difficulty isn't that hard, even on hard. So if you are a seasoned gamer, you might want to check out some of the variety of options within the game, such as if you want to try out various different characters. Like I said, I talked to you about the philanthropist and why I found them so fun. Let me give you an example of why. So basically, philanthropy is all about giving money, all about doing a great job. But there's one card in here which I think is hilarious, and it's about dividends. So basically, the fact is they give out loads of money, and they're really good for the environment and all the rest by all their charitable donations. And this time around, doesn't matter how much they give away, they're still raking it in. So I find that very funny. The art's fine. I like obviously the theme. Every individual scenario has a different shape and stuff going on there too. Obviously, you have the forest, and you've got that sea otter dark side as well. Or the side in the sea, so that's cool. I like the breeding element. I like the fact you're bringing out more cards, but engine building does have a bit of a sprawl effect potentially if you need to get more cards out. And all the cards are ultimately better than what you see. It's the same cards, these kind of starting cards on both sides. Quite quick. It does say 60 minutes, and that is accurate. There is some peril going on though, but I find typically just focus on only 4 ambassadors if you need to. Don't worry about the rest. In this case, if you didn't think it was that easy, this one you need player cards in hand, so you just need to pick up loads of cards. This one gives you 1 card. This one lets you, again, it's similar to Germany, whereby you're having to risk with the dice values and chuck all your influence on there too. But yeah, all the powers are slightly different. I like the notches, obviously you can put your dice in too. But yeah, hopefully you find it of interest, and also check out the various other videos coming too, also from Endangered AmassGuild as well as from various other places too. Make sure you like, subscribe, hit the notification bell, check out the podcast, head through to Facebook, join the discussion, and of course I did mention Instagram earlier via the description on YouTube. By the way, there's also a link tree for occasional competitions. For now, back to the table.